Hello, welcome folks to the Premodern Magic Online playoffs. We're going to be playing Goblins. This is the deck that I chose for these playoffs. We're going to see how it works. I've always been very interested in the little green man in the format. I think that they're a lot of fun and surprisingly hard to pilot. The one time that I played the deck through a league, I was very impressed by the multiple gears that the deck has, and not only that, but also how strong and how resilient it is. It's also very tricky and interesting to play. So the deck is very much up my alley, and I'm very excited to try it out. I think also the deck is surprisingly good right now, and you will see that what I'm doing, that what I chose to do for these playoffs is I'm playing 3-main deck Naturalized. This is like one of the only changes. Like the Goblins list is fairly stock, and I think rightfully so. I think that this shell is extremely strong. The changes that I did is I added, as I was saying, the third copy of Naturalized to the main deck. This is obviously to give me a chance versus Oath decks, also fantastic versus Dreadnought decks, and you know, Naturalized is just particularly great in the current format. Survival, land tax, Oath, as I was saying, Dreadnought. There's so many fantastic targets that you need to make sure that you have the chance to hit, and Naturalized does exactly that. I'm also playing 3 copies of Skirk Prospector. I think that having access to a bunch of 1-drops is really a way to get this deck going in quick fashion. Also, being able to like play a War Chief on turn 2 can be sometimes very strong in certain matchups, and just having more 1-drops makes your pile drivers better. This is a card that I was very impressed by. Like the amount of times that I matroned for a pile driver with a War Chief in play or something like that is actually very significant. I was impressed by how often that ended up happening. We do have you know, the Ringleaders, the Siege Gangs, and 2 copies of Gem Palm Incinerator. The only one that I chose as a one-off is a Singleton Goblin Sharpshooter. This is obviously because decks like Elves can be, you know, problematic, but just having access to the Singleton Sharpshooter because of the 4 Matrons and the War Chiefs can really turn that matchup in and of its head by itself. There's also, in the sideboard, I have Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blasts. I expect to be playing against a lot of blue decks, stuff like Standstill, stuff like Dreadnought, things like that. We also have Tinker, fantastic against Dreadnoughts, as I was saying, also very good at destroying Mox Diamonds. An extra copy of Sharpshooter and 3 Pyrokinesis are the anti-creature deck tech. We'll see how that works out. Goblin King is just kind of like a weird card in the sideboard. I'm not sure if I want to have any access to any more than this. Obviously the idea is that it is the counter play to a card like Engineered Play, which is obviously pretty good against this deck, but I'm not honestly sure. I don't have enough experience with the deck to know how needed this card really is. I could see myself cutting it for maybe another Tranquil Domain or maybe another Tormod Script or something like that to make sure that we are actually attacking the bad matchups. But just like having access to a bunch of Tranquil Domains and Naturalize is a good way to play around Engineer Play anyway. And most of your important Goblins like War Chief, Pile Driver, they're all X2, so you don't really care that much about Plague as long as or you can play around it a lot more reasonably than a deck like Elves, for example. That's what I'm trying to say. So this is what we're going to be playing in this playoffs. I'm very interested in learning more about the deck. I am not an expert by any means, and this list is heavily influenced by the one that top-aided the LobsterCon event, that is the North American Championships. So you will notice that I have some extra red sources in the Mostfire Valley and a City of Brass. I am playing 4 ports, only a Singleton Wasteland. So those are like my colorless sources. Everything else is a land that taps for turn 1 red, with the exception of Forest and the Singleton Mostfire Valley. I was thinking about playing another city over the Mostfire Valley, but I think that this split seems reasonable enough to me. We'll see how it goes. Looking forward to learning more about the deck. If you're enjoying this content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you for round number 2, actually, because my number one round opponent did not show up, actually. So we're gonna be going straight to round number 2. So hopefully we're gonna go the distance with these little dudes. We'll see. Time for round number 1. We're on the play. I think I would keep this hand if I had a turn 1 Lucky, or if I had a second land drop, because this hand clicks a lot of the boxes, right? The only problem, like, if I didn't have this Fanatic and I had another land, I think I would keep this hand, or if I didn't have the Prospector or something like that. So the problem is this hand doesn't really have a curve unless I sack the Prospector on turn 2, which is not something I'm particularly excited about doing. I think I'm going to ship this hand. Well, obviously I'm going to ship this one. The thing about Goblins is that it's a deck that mulligans fairly well, because some of your draws are just so absurdly explosive. I guess I'm going to keep this one. I'm not super excited about it, but I think I'm gonna bottom Prospector, or I can bottom a land. I kind of want 3 lands though. I think I'm just gonna bottom the Fanatic, and I'm going to I could be playing against Dreadnought, so because of Stifle I'm going to just use the fetch right now. Wooded Foothills, Bubble. Okay, so we're probably playing against yeah, we're definitely playing against Sligh. Mog Fanatic. I wonder, yeah, if they're gonna kill my Prospector. Looks like they are. Okay, seems okay. That's actually a great draw. It's something I can actually play on turn 2, and it doesn't die to another Fanatic. Like, my opponent needs to use a real card on this, so I like that a lot. The question now is whether I want to fetch for a basic forest, or whether I value having more red sources more highly. Jackal Pup seems pretty much irrelevant. Yep, very much irrelevant. It does trade with the Pile Driver, however. I think I'm actually gonna go get another red source here. And I'm just going to play the Matron. The question now is, what do I want to get? And I think that the answer is I want to get Ringleader. It's risky, but even if I don't draw... Alternatively, I could get Gem Palm. Yeah, I think... Actually, let's get Gem Palm. Like, it's a card that I'm guaranteed to be able to cast. And it allows me to just kill the Jackal Pup while dealing some extra damage in the process, which is nice. And it protects me from Ball Lightning as well. Lightning Bolt, the Pile Driver. Seems good to me. If my opponent uses a removal spell on the Goblin Matron, I'm going to be pretty happy about that. They go Barbarian Ring into Bubble. So now they know about Fanatic and the Gem Pump, so they have perfect info. Jackal Pup gets in there for 2. Now they have a Barbarian Ring mana. Port is interesting. Alright, here's Mog Fantastic. And... do I want to upkeep Gem Palm? I think I do. I think I upkeep Gem Palm. So what this does is it allows me to like deal 1 to the Jackal Pup. My opponent can kill my Mog Fanatic in response if they want to, but then if they do, I just sack the Mog Fanatic and kill the Gem Palm anyway. Kill the Pup anyway, so seems fine to me. Ball Lightning is a blank until my opponent cashes in this Barbarian Ring. Untap. Another land is not great, but it's... if I'm gonna be drawing another land, that's actually one of the good ones to be drawing, right? Swing in with Mog Fantastic, and I'm going to upkeep, and still an upkeep, tap the other one. And I'm tapping all the lands that don't deal damage to my opponent. Bolt my Mog Fanatic. So that tells me that my opponent probably has a Ball Lightning in hand, because that's a pretty strong commitment. Okay, that's another reason to do it. So now I really want to draw another Matron or Ringleader. Ringleader's my best draw probably. Lucky does actual nothing. I guess it's gonna soak up 2 points of damage. Lucky is basically 1 mana gain 2. Not great, but I guess it's technically correct to activate Mossfire, then tap a land, then tap the other land. Tapping those lands. My opponent's cashing in the Barbarian Ring, which makes sense because the Lava Man is going to make it so the Barbarian Ring doesn't do anything. The nice thing is I have a ton of really good draws here. That's not one of them. Actually, not one of them. I'm still playing my lands because it's important to make sure that I'm just doing stuff here. Like, I need to be... basically, I need to find, like, Siege Gang into stuff, or, what's his name? The Ringleader into a bunch of stuff. And here I'm just tapping, you know, on upkeep. I don't think it matters too much. Technically, I should be going to draw phase and, like, just tapping there, because now they can cast an Incinerate, yep. So that was probably lazy on my part. It was not technically correct. Not that it matters, because I did have the extra land. It's a good draw. That's a good draw. Okay, so Valley, Matron into Ringleader. And now we're gonna hope that good old Ringleader does some work for me. Only draw 1. It's pretty devastating. This Ringleader is getting in there, by the way. No way it's staying back to block. If my opponent has a Bolt Lightning, so be it. But I feel like I need to be dealing damage. I moved to 5 this game, and my opponent has this Lava Man, though. I mean, it is possible that I was just supposed to Matron for Mog Fanatic or Siege Gang and just like pass the turn and just following turn do Siege Gang things. It's close. I think it's close. No Bolt Lightning is good for me. No Bolt Lightning is definitely good for me. Another Matron. Well, yeah, I guess we're doing that. So we gotta cast Warchief first, then 2 mana Matron, and this one is gonna find the other. This one's gonna find Incinerator number 2, just so I can get rid of the Lavamancer. I'm dead to Bolt Lightning, but I don't think I'm supposed to play around Bolt Lightning here. And my opponent should probably kill this Warchief here. The nice thing here is I don't need to do anything. There's no way they don't activate Lavamancer though, right? But yeah, I think it's correct for me to just kill this Lavamancer here. If my opponent has Bolt Lightning, so be it. But like that Lava Man did so much damage to me, it's crazy. Alright, down to 7. I'm dead to a million things. I feel like if I hadn't moved to 5, I feel like I would have won this game. They play Mog Fanatic and cash it in immediately, so I imagine that, yeah, Lava Dart, plus Flashback, plus Fire Blast. I assume that's lethal. Gear number 2. We don't really have that much stuff going on here, actually. I think I want the Goblin King. I don't want Naturalizes, and I'd rather have Pyrokinesis. Do I want Sharpshooter? I don't think I do. The question is Pyrokinesis better than Sharpshooter? Actually, I don't think so. I think Sharpshooter may be better. I may be wrong about that, but like Sharpshooter is a card that demands an answer, while Pyrokinesis is just only good against Fire Blast, which I'm assuming my opponent is going to be siding out. So they do have Lava Dart, which is bad for me. Ugh. There's no way this hand is a keep. I mean, it does some stuff. It does have Siege Gang too. I'm gonna keep it as an experiment. Like, the fact that I have the port is what makes me kind of want to keep this hand. Because I can go turn 1 Fanatic and then just like start porting my opponent every turn while still holding Pyrokinesis. Opponent moves to 6, which makes this keep better, by the way. Opponent moving to 6 definitely makes this keep. So this blanks a bunch of my opponent's cards, right? If they have Lava Man, they can't play it. Same thing with Jackal Pup. Another Mog Fanatic, same deal. Am I attacking is the question? Matron is not bad. Yeah, I think I'm not attacking. I think I'm just tapping my opponent's land here and upkeep. Port, yep. I can Matron into Ringleader probably, because I can cast it on curve. Another Mog Fanatic. So I can just take a clean trade here. Seems good to me. So now I'm gonna play Matron. That's a nice draw. Do I just play Fanatic and pass? And we just port again? No, because if my opponent has... If they have Bolt Lightning, I have Pyrokinesis anyway, so it's fine. So I'm just gonna get Ringleader here and pass the turn back. Matron's going to trade with this Mog Fanatic, I think, if allowed. Because I feel like as long as I'm keeping my life total as high as possible, I'm gonna be in better shape. This coming turn, we're not gonna Ringleader. We're just gonna Mog Fanatic plus tap my opponent's land. Jackal Pup. Ha. Alright. I guess we're actually gonna Pyrokinesis now. Ay. That's a card. Play land. So we have 3 red sources. I can go Ringleader into Pyrokinesis. I think that's the better line. Probably Pitching Prospector. Ringleader, please help me out this time. At least they draw 2, right? It's only fair. Ugh. Alright. At least we get another spin next turn. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna Pyrokinesis Peach Prospector. My opponent's gonna get to trade Fanatic for Matron, but I think that's fine. Alternatively, I can just attack with both, but I have to kill the Lava Man, so let's just attack with both Pyrokinesis, 1-2, 1-1, and Pitch Prospector. Fanatic's most likely gonna kill the Matron, so this makes Bolt Lightning much better for my opponent, but I'm coming in for 2. They already took 2 from the Jackal Pup. The Grim Lava Man is down. I really need to answer Grim Lavamancer right there. Curse Scroll just doesn't do anything. Alright, we're in pretty good shape here. I think we are some pretty heavy favorites right now. I'm not sure if I was supposed to pitch the Prospector there. Oof, okay, now that was a good one. That was indeed a good one. Swing for 4. Opponent's down to 11. We can play another Ringleader next turn even? Jeez. I mean, I could Matron for War Chief, but yeah, I mean, I can just Ringleader plus Fantastic, or I can Matron plus Piledriver. I can also just Siege Gang, and Siege Gang demands an answer, but Ringleader just puts so much pressure on them. Man, this deck is really hard to play. I think I'm actually gonna play Siege Gang here. I think I'm playing Siege Gang. It just uses my mana effectively, and like it just sets up lethal for next turn. I should have attacked first, by the way. That was definitely a punt. I don't think it matters. I'm at 20. My opponent has 4 cards in hand, but like, sure, they shock my Siege Gang, but we're still swinging in for 4 this turn. They mull to 6, and like this Curse Scroll is another mulligan, so they kind of mull to 5. Now we have a super lethal next turn. We have lethal already on board. They know I have a hasty threat and I have a pinger. So, all right, game number 3. For all the marbles, that pyrokinesis was insane. So I think I'm gonna cut the sharpshooters. I guess I'm gonna cut the sharpshooter on the king. Like I assume my opponent was gonna side out a bunch of their creatures, but it looks like they didn't. Since we have 30 creatures, seems pretty reasonable. Yeah, let's go with that. Triple Piledriver, not enough lands. Let's move to 6. Now this is a hand, finally. We're gonna keep this one. I don't really want to bottom Gem Palm, and I don't want to bottom Matron. I think I'm gonna bottom the Foothills, and just hope that I find 1 land along the way. I think so. We really want to dodge Lava Dart. That's the worst case scenario for me. Oof, second luck is not terrible. Also, my opponent's on the Goblin Patrol version of the deck, which makes things so much better for me. Opponent does pay for Echo, and now they need to have a Bolt for this Lackey. Or something for this Lackey. Lava Dart is the worst case scenario. Okay, yeah, they do have the Lava Dart. That's far and away the worst case scenario, because that actually deals with both Lackeys. At the cost of a land, of course, but it is very good for them, obviously. Well, here's a Lackey. Second Lava Dart is devastating. Ugh. Oof. Second Lava Dart is so insane for them. I do have Matron, though. I do have Matron. We may be... I don't want to say fine. Like, we're definitely behind. We're definitely behind. But, okay. Interesting. So I'm definitely going to Matron. The question is, what do I get? We have a bunch of options. We can go for Ringleader once again. That's what I'm leaning towards. But there's an argument for getting Fanatic, so I can go War Chief into Fanatic. I could also get Piledriver, so I can go War Chief into Piledriver. That would be kind of interesting. I think I'm going to go with Ringleader, though, and just set things up for the following turn. So my opponent is going to have to pay upkeep on the second patrol, and they can kill the Matron with Lava Dart. But if they do, then Fire Blast is no longer part of the equation. Barbarian Ring is not online. They can use a bigger burn spell on this. Oh, Fanatic is brutal. Ugh. Fanatic is brutal there. So they get to swing in for 4. Probably just have to play Ringleader and hope it's 6. Yep. So Wasteland is interesting because it means that I get to destroy their Barbarian Ring. This Ringleader is gonna stay back to block here, though. Priority number 1 right now is to keep my life total as high as possible. Next turn I can go Wasteland into War Chief into Fantastic. But yeah, we're definitely going to offer the trade here. If my opponent wants to spend a removal spell on this Ringleader, that's fine. They can technically double Lava Dart. The more I'm thinking about it, the less clear that the no attack last turn feels. It means I take 4 guaranteed, down to 8. But then I have an answer for the Barbarian Ring in the Wasteland. Yeah, I think that I'm supposed to hold back. It makes my Gem Palm a lot worse, but I think that soaking up 2 points of damage is just way too valuable. So we're going to offer the trade there. No red source is unfortunate, but I think I'm just going to go War Chief into Fanatic. Taking 1 point there is pretty big. You know, if I were playing mono red, this would probably have been a mountain, so that part sucks, but this War Chief is coming in though. Oh, should attack with Fanatic as well, because Fanatic is going to be killing the patrol anyway, so I I wasted a point of damage, which could matter. Shock face. We'll see if they use the Barbarian Ring. Upkeep, Barbarian Ring. They can shock me and then like use the ring. Maybe I should have destroyed the ring while I could. But yeah, I missed a point of damage. Hopefully it doesn't matter. So if my opponent has Bolt Lightning, they win. They do attack. I am going to block. So it's not a great draw. Actually, I get to tap them on upkeep now. Going to 6, like I'm dead to Fire Blast already. I'm at a virtual 5 as is. Yeah, actually I don't think I can afford to use that. I'm gonna play it out anyway, but I'm not gonna fetch. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play Prospector and swing for 3. The reason for doing this is so I can tap one of their lands on upkeep, but if my opponent does have any sort of haste threat, I can just take the point and just just get the mountain and cycle Gem Palm. I know I could have played War Chief there, but if I play War Chief, I am forced to do it, right? Like I'm forced to take the point of damage. This way I get to stay at 7 or at 5, I guess a virtual 5. Price of Progress. So I guess it's better to fetch, and I take 4, and I'm dead. I was not expecting Price of Progress. Yeah, I'm actually dead now. Brutal. So if I had been playing mono red Goblins instead of red green, I would have won this game, probably. But yeah, now my opponent just brings back both Lava Darts to face, and I lose. Alright. Short run for the Gobs, but I feel like I mulliganed a lot this match. Well played, Ironlungs, well played. Alright, not a long run, but it was a very, very fun and interesting match, the one that we played. I don't think there was too much I could have done. I could have played around Price of Progress. Honestly, it didn't even cross my mind that my opponent could have Price of Progress. But in hindsight, it probably makes sense for them. They probably have a bunch of dead cards that are not doing too much. And just having access to a card that can potentially make a bunch of damage out of nowhere, it's probably good for them. Yeah, I mean, I feel like game 1 we would have probably won had I not mulliganed to 5. Like we really felt the lack of cards, which prevented us from actually ending the game. But I was impressed. I was impressed by the Goblins deck. Every time I play this deck, I feel like it's just fantastic. Like it's absolutely great. So it doesn't surprise me that I'm surprised by it, because I always am. But it didn't end up adding up to a full win, if you may. But I'm going to continue trying this bad boys out. So excited to give it a shot in the near future. That's gonna be it for this video, though. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next Premodern video, modern video, or whatever it is. Have a great rest of your day, and bye bye.